Satnam, Big Wahe Guru. This is Digital Drip here, sending infinite vibes your way. So previously I had made a video. We were talking about human design and going over the basic 5 archetypes of the mechanics that exist in human design currently. And so next in this video, what I'm going to be focusing on is, when you pull up this human design chart, when you generate your chart on, whatever website you use, you can use Genetic Matrix, or you can use freebodygraph.com. So many sources out there for you to generate your chart. When you do generate your chart, right, what is it that you're looking at? Why is it that some of them are highlighted? What does it mean when some centers are defined, some centers are undefined? And what design chart, there are actually 9 centers, right? And the reason is because as human beings, we are evolving. We're evolving from 7-dimensional beings to 9-dimensional beings. We're actually beyond being 9-dimensional beings at this point. Some people actually have access to about 16 chakras, but there's so much more out there. There's so much more, energy fields, vortexes, torsion fields that we have not yet unlocked to our understanding yet, right? And so as we continue to evolve, we're going to continue to unlock more and more of these things. But what human design solely focuses on is the 9 center points. So as I said before, we're going from being 7-dimensional beings to being 9-dimensional beings. And so at the top of the chart, right, when you generate your chart, you have your crown, all right, your crown chakra, all right? And so those who have this defined, right, this basically means you're an antenna for thoughts and ideas in the environment, right? It just means that you pull from source and then you basically put it out in the environment. And so people with undefined minds, and even some people with defined minds, can actually pick up on what it is that you're thinking about. And so this is why people tend to think that people are stealing their ideas or hearing their thoughts and stuff like that, right? It's just because you have a defined crown chakra. Some people have undefined crown chakras, and so they're on the opposite end of this. They're the receptors of the information that the crown chakra, the person with the defined crown, is pulling in, okay? Now, the second point on the chart is the Anya. This is the conceptualization point, okay? So this aspect of conceptualization, this is where you basically process the thoughts, process the information that you gather from the collective, from a defined mind within your area, and you conceptualize these thoughts. You make sense of it, all right? So this is what the third eye, or the Anya, does, okay? And this is the second point. So you have the crown, you have the conceptualization point, and then you go to the throat, okay? Now the throat is a manifestation point, all right? And, you can, when you speak, you can uplift people, you can destroy people, you can build things, you can destroy things, right? And so the throat is a major manifestation point in the human body, right? And so that's what happens when you have a defined throat, is you're very likely going to be speaking up on thoughts that have been conceptualized, in your environment, okay? Depending on the mechanics that are there. Then going down below into your torso area, this is called the G center, all right? This is your identification center. So this is kind of like, in essence, who you are, who you resonate with, right? And both the G center connects to the throat and the conceptualization point connects to the throat. And so when you're speaking, there's 2 ways in which you're going to be speaking from. You're going to be speaking from conceptualization, which is the thoughts that you have processed in your headspace, right? The ideas that you picked up on. And then you'll either speak out of curiosity, structure, or, acceptance, basically coming from the headspace of these ideas that have come to you. But then when you speak from your G center, your identity center, right? This is something that you embody, something that you know. The G center has everything to do with the environment, okay? And so if you come from an environment that you're comfortable with and you know everything about this environment, you're more likely to speak more passionately. This is where passion and rage and love, and that when you're speaking of these things, this is coming from your G center, your identification center. things that you resonate with, things that you firmly believe in, things that you identify with, right? And so, this is why some people can get a bit uncomfortable when you come into their space and you move things around without asking them and stuff like that. And those people are very likely going to have G centers very much defined, right? Then the next point in the chart, going down below, if you look at the little triangle, right underneath the G center, this is the heart center. This is your willpower. This is a driving force. This is a creative force. There's two creative forces in your chart, right? Just like how there's two sources of self-identity, the crown, and then your G center, your your G center, your identity center, and then your crown chakra, the thoughts and the ideas, and then the G center, how you identify with your environment. These two things are more or less like what you resonate with, what you pick and choose to resonate with in order to manifest through a manifestation point, which is your throat, or one of either your spleen or your solar plexus or your root. I'm gonna get into those later. And then your heart center, right, is a creative force. Your heart center is the willpower. And so some people, those who have defined willpowers, they have this sense of identity, this sense of, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is why I'm here to live my life, this is my purpose on this planet, right? And then there are those who don't have, willpower centers, identified heart centers, right? And these are the people who, in a month, they could be the biggest musician, the biggest artist. That could be their passion. And then the next month, their willpower changes to, maybe now they want to be, veterinarian, right? You want to work with animals all of a sudden, right? Your passion changes. And so that's because your willpower tends to change as well with the things that life presents itself to you. So, you could wake up and you could have like no sense of purpose. And then, a friend of yours could hit you up and be like, hey, let's go to the beach today. And boom. So your day has, your willpower, kind of becomes activated with the idea that, okay, my sense of purpose for today is to go to the beach, right? People with defined willpower is just a bit different, where it's like, they wake up already knowing who they are. Somebody comes to them and suggests to them, hey, let's go to the beach. People with defined willpowers are more or less the type of people like, do I want to go to the beach today or do I not? Is this in my agenda? Yes or no, right? And so those are the differences between people with defined willpowers and undefined willpowers. None of it is bad. Just because you have an undefined willpower and you're down to tag along for the mission and to go on the journey, it doesn't mean that you're not a leader. You're not, you don't have the qualities to be a leader. You don't have the qualities to live on your own trait. On the contrary, it's quite the opposite, right? Because if people present you with situations where they're dealing with something or they have to go through something, your willpower can easily shift to the point where you're capable of helping them and actually guiding them through the circumstances that they're going through, depending on the rest of your mechanics. All right. So just because you have a defined center and an undefined center, just because you have an undefined center, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. All right. It's a common misconception that my centers are undefined, there's something wrong with me. There is not. A matter of fact, you're more likely to shapeshift into any environment that you want to shapeshift into, the more you understand your undefined centers, right? And so it's very crucial to understand your undefined centers so you understand what it is that's going on when you step into an environment and you begin to feel certain things, or when you just begin to do certain things without really conceptualizing it, okay? Now, going from the heart, I'm going to go into the sacral. All right, the sacral is actually, no, I'm going to go to the solar plexus actually. So I'm going from the heart center to the solar plexus. The solar plexus is the emotion. All right, and so some people have undefined solar plexus, which means they have no emotions, which means the emotions of the environment around them are what they pick up on. And so if you are with somebody and that person is feeling extremely sad, right, even if they don't talk about it, you might get hit with a wave of sadness yourself. And so the key with these undefined centers is realizing when you are behaving in, quote is, not self, right? And when you're behaving in your not self, this is when you're picking up on energies or other people's defined points, and you're picking up on it and then you're relating to it and then you're making it yours. The truth of the matter is that person is sad, but you're not. you're just in the auric field of this person who's sad. And so because you're in this auric field of the person who's sad, what's happening is because you have undefined emotions, mind you have no emotions, so you're a receptor for the emotions within the environment. Just like how those with the undefined crown chakras are receptors for those with the defined crown chakras, for the thoughts and the ideas that other people pick up on. You have to learn to filter out these emotions, these thoughts and ideas that you pick up on. Are these my thoughts? Are these my ideas? Right? And how to figure that out comes down to your strategy and your authority. And I will talk about that in the next video. But for now, let's continue. So we have the solar plexus, which is the emotional center. So, this is, if you have a defined emotional center, you're very likely giving out the emotions in the environment. You're very likely going to want to make sure everybody's okay. You're that type of person. Person with undefined emotional center, neutral. You could be in a situation where you guys are about to get into some serious, situation, and the person with the undefined center is going to be neutral. No feelings, nothing. Somebody could get smacked in the face right in front of you. Undefined emotions, no emotions. The person with the defined emotions is going to be the one that's going to get riled up and get up and be like, hey, why would you slap this person? Why would you hurt this person? Why are you doing this, right? And so that's the difference between the defined emotions and the undefined emotions, all right? Now, going into the sacrum, okay? And the emotional center is also a manifestation point, right? So you have the throat, that's a manifestation point, and a solar plexus, that's a manifestation point. So far I've talked about 2 manifestation points. So we understand why the throat is a manifestation point, because you speak things into existence, right? The reason why your feelings are an aspect of manifestation is because when you feel things, you tend to act on your emotions, on your feelings. And so even if you have an undefined emotional center, if somebody else has a defined emotional center and you're feeling what they're feeling, you might end up acting on these feelings rather than they would, right? And so that's why your emotions, your solar plexus is a manifestation point. Now, going into your sacral, this is a creation point, all right? Sacral, when we think about the sacral energy, we think about creative energy, sexual energy, just attractiveness. Like there's just this aura about you that just gets people to just want to come to you. They don't know why, you don't know why, but people just come and gather around you. It's because of your sacral energy, that life force energy. That's what the sacral energy is. And so the stronger your life force energy is, right, the more people will gravitate towards you to want to be in your, in your aroma, in your energetic field, in your auric field, right? And, depending on your mechanics, it would, if you're the type of people you attract, right, how you would respond to attracting certain type of people or stuff like that would come down to your mechanics going in depth. And so, you want to be very mindful of the type of habits you have and type of things that you do in regards to your sacral energy, all right? But yeah, the sacral energy is a creative, energetic field, much like the heart, where the heart is the willpower. The sacral energy is the creative center. And so it attracts, people to you in that essence, right? People with undefined sacral energy centers, they don't have as much energy as people who do have defined sacral centers. So, if you have an undefined sacral, you want to be very conscious of what you're putting your energy and your time into. You don't want to be wasting your time because you don't have as much energy to keep up with those who have sacral energies, right? Those who have the sacral authorities. Undefined sacrals tend to overdo things, right? So you could find yourself binge watching, binge eating, just overdoing things. The argument is done and you still want to argue. The situation is done, you still want to, bring it back up. This is, that undefined sacral energy, right? And so when you are around people and, there's that one person who just keeps bringing up a situation that occurred over and or they don't know how to let it go. Everybody's beyond it. It's been a day and they're still talking about it. Those are people with the undefined sacral energy. They just recycle everything that goes on over and over again. And this is an act of you being in your not self, right? You being in your not self is you acting, trying to use your sacral energy, but you can't use, if you don't have a defined sacral energy and you can't really create the new stuff, right? You can't bring in the new environment. So what happens is you keep recycling the old things until something new comes into your environment. So somebody with a sacral energy comes into your environment, takes you into a new situation, and now you have something new to talk about. This doesn't mean that you might not still talk about the other stuff, right? So this is what I mean. It's like when you're recycling things, when you're going over situations, or you're overdoing things, that you don't know when to stop. You're working out and you've hit that peak, but you still want to be in the gym, right? This is an aspect of your undefined sacral energy, okay? Now, it's a bit different, like if you just want to push yourself to the limit and see how far you can go, that's fine, right? But people who very likely overdo things have the undefined sacral. Now moving into your spleen, right? So having a spleen, this is your sense of intuition, right? The spleen is an aspect of you that lets you know which way to go, what to do. It doesn't really talk, it doesn't really communicate with you, right? So your mind can communicate, it can jibber jabber, right? Your emotions, you can realize, oh, I'm going through an emotional wave right now. You can check in with your sacral authority, if you have a sacral authority, and ask it the yes or no question. Sacral responds with only yes or no. Anything else is the mind. So, should I drink some water? Yes, okay, drink some water. But if you ask your sacral, should I drink some water? And then the mind is like, yeah, but I just drank some water and maybe I should wait, right? That's the mind coming into play. The answer was yes, right? That was what the sacral told you. The sacral doesn't say yes, but, and form sentences. It's either yes or no reaction. So that's how you can check in with your sacral energy, with the yes or no. And so back to the spleen. So the spleen, the way it communicates, right, is it makes your body do things that makes no sense to you. So you could be walking down the street and like the restaurant you want to go to is straight ahead, maybe 2 blocks down. And you all agreed, you're with your friends and you all agree you're going to go to this restaurant, right? And, on the way to this restaurant, somewhere on the way, your body's just making you make a left, right? You don't know why, but like you just have this surge, like can't control it, your body just wants to go left. Your friends are like, this is where the mind comes in, right? Your friends are like, hey, why are you going left? The bar is straight ahead. That's where we should go, right? That's where everybody's thinking about going. And, but you with the defined spleen, you're like, nah, I gotta go this way. I gotta go to the left. And, those that want to come with you will come with you. Those that want to go straight will go straight. And, you could make that left turn and you could potentially end up meeting somebody, potentially activating something on your journey to the restaurant from that direction. Something might happen that might just, that you need to experience, right? And so that's why your body is like forcing you to go that way. Maybe there's an energetic pull that's happening, or maybe there's some sort of danger that you're about to avoid. And so you make that left turn. It could very well be that nothing is gonna happen. It just could be that your body just wants to see a new environment. It's used to walking straight all the time. Now it wants to make a left turn, right? And so it's very important that you pay attention to where your body is trying to guide you to, where it's guiding you to, the things that you notice as you're walking down your path. This is the aspect of using your spleen correctly, because there's going to be things that you notice and you can conceptualize that other people might not notice and other people might not make sense of, but you can, right? And that's why your body is making you go in that direction. So that's the spleen, right? When the spleen is undefined, people tend to not let go of grudges, right? And so when you're acting in your not self, or when you're holding on to things that no longer serve you, you're not allowing any hydration to occur, right? And so I'm going to speak in water codes now. So hydration is when you allow, things to continue to flow, right? And so you go into the situation, you learn your lesson, you evolve, you move on, and you keep it going, right? That's the cycle. But people with undefined spleens tend to be a bit dehydrated. And what I mean by that is that, people can't let go of the past. They've been traumatized as a child. Their ex did something to them that they can't forgive. Whatever the situation may be, right? You have, something that you're holding on to that you just can't let go of. This is an aspect of you acting in your not self, not letting go of grudges, or you having an undefined spleen where you just have to hold on to these scenarios, just play it over and over in your head, like you hate people for what they've done to you, blah, 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 blah. And so you're not allowing any new room to come into place so hydration can take its place. Hydration needs to flow. When you're dehydrating yourself, you're holding on to stuff, right? And so things will be flowing in your body, and then it gets to your spleen, is like, oh, we're still holding on to that? Okay, well, we're stuck here, right? And so you want to continue to hydrate yourself, where you learn your lessons and you evolve. You learn your lessons and you evolve. You learn your lessons and you evolve. If not, you're going to dehydrate yourself, and this is what's going to cause you to become sick, catch some sort of disease, or maybe you might even hurt yourself out of anger, out of not letting go of the situation. You might miss opportunities that present themselves to you that you're missing out on because you're holding on to a grudge, right? And this causes dehydration, right? So those with undefined spleen, or if you're acting in your not self and you're holding on to situations, this will lead you into the theme of disappointment, frustration, or anger. And so if you ever find yourself in any of these themes, check back in with yourself. Be like, hey, am I holding on to things? Am I not letting things go? Am I not properly hydrating myself? Do I need to take a deep breath? Right? And so just in that moment, you hydrate yourself, you let go of the past, and you keep it flowing, okay? And so the spleen is another point of manifestation. The reason why I say this is because, like I said before, you could be walking down the street, and your body, your intuition is telling you, I need to make a left. You make a left, and a whole new scenario manifests for you, right? And so the spleen is a major aspect of manifestation. If you're recycling old things over and over, you're just playing it, you can't let go of grudges, like you just can't, you're going to recycle the same scenarios over and over and over again, and it can make you go crazy. So those with undefined spleens, please pay attention to yourself. Make sure you're hydrating yourself properly, all right? Now we're going to go to the last point. This is the root. Okay, now the root is a point of manifestation. The root is the hurdles, it's the challenges, it's the things you have to overcome in life, right? Some people have undefined roots. They're the lucky ones, right? Kumbaya. People who have defined roots, what's going to happen is your body tends to get bored. Let's just put it that way, all right? So let's say you accomplish your goals, everything is going well, everything's just smooth, right? Your body's just like, let's go fuck it all up, right? And depending on how far you let it go, right? Some people can fuck up an entire business, they can mess everything up, right? But if you can stop yourself or realize that, hey, wait a minute, I'm about to put myself through a hurdle right now, you can catch yourself and then change the trajectory of your course. But oftentimes, when the body does this, right, when your body puts you through a hurdle, through a struggle, it's for you to evolve, right? And so you get to a point where everything is smooth, you've accomplished your goals, you're on an island, you're chilling, everything is going great. But then all of a sudden, some sort of chaos is going to occur, right? And this chaos is meant to help you evolve, to push through, to transform, to go through that struggle and change, to mutate, to emote, everything like that, right? And so, this is a very important channel. This is a very important defined center. A lot of people tend to not like having a defined root, but this is what makes you stronger. This is what makes you more powerful. You go through these struggles, these challenges, so that way your body can evolve and mutate and transform and turn into something else that's very, very beautiful, right? So you can go into a job, say you're doing your thing, and then you end up getting hired for a job. May not be the job that you want to do, but you go and you do it anyway, right? The reason why you ended up getting that job, the reason why you're going through all that is because you need to struggle to evolve, you need to transform. And so your body is putting you through a hurdle, a challenge. It doesn't have to be a job. It could be you facing your fear of flying on an airplane. It could be you facing your fear of going swimming in the water. It could be you rock climbing, something, right? Something that's challenging. And so your body is like, I'm bored. Let's go find a challenge so we can evolve, right? And so this is why people pick up habits and stuff like that. So, people with undefined roots or defined roots, right? If you have a defined root, you want to have habits, you want to have routines, things like that. So that way your body doesn't necessarily always get bored. And you want to switch it up. Well, depending on your channel, right? Depending on the channels you have in your entire mechanic, you want to switch it up sometimes. You want to surprise your body sometimes. Because if not, what's going to happen is your body's going to push you into aspect of struggle. Sometimes you switching it up forces that hurdle to come up, forces that evolution to happen for you. And so when you decide, okay, I'm going to switch up this routine, I'm going to do it this way, instead of walking down the street this way, I'm going to walk down the street that way, right? And so you create a challenge, you create a hurdle, you do things that your body's not used to so it can transform and become stronger. And this is a way for you to create that struggle for you, rather than your body being like, all right, we're gonna get up and we're gonna fuck all this shit up because, you know, we're not doing anything, we're bored. And so you go out there and you go and you run into trees and you give yourself a concussion, and now you're going through a whole new challenge because you're trying to figure out what's going on in your mind or some crazy stuff like that, right? And so that's what the root is. And the reason why the root is an aspect of manifestation is because through these struggles, you will transform. Through these struggles, different things will manifest into your reality. Through these hurdles, you know, different things will occur. And so that's another aspect of manifestation. This is one of the, I think it was the throat, spleen, solar plexus, and the root. These four are manifestation points. If your root is undefined, what you're likely going to be facing, or if you're going through a not self situation with your root, what you're very likely going to be facing in this situation is being pressurized, being pushed to do things that you don't necessarily want to do or you don't necessarily feel comfortable. If you ever find yourself being rushed or being pressured to do something, it just means that your body does not necessarily want to do it, right? And so if, you know, somebody wakes you up at 10 and is like, hey, there's a party going on at 3 p.m. Are you down to go? You know, in that moment, you could be like, yeah, I'm down to go. And then, you know, 2:30 comes around and the person comes through and you're still not ready. You're in your pajamas. You know, you're sitting in bed watching TV or something. And then they come through and then, you know, they're like, hey, like, you know, the party's going on, let's go. And then now they're standing at your doorway, like pressuring you, like rushing you, like trying to get you to put clothes on. Your body's like, I don't even want to go to this party right now, right? So in that moment, don't feel pressurized to get up and have to go to this party with this person. You can be like, hey, I'm not ready right now. You go on ahead and I'll come through later, right? And so you want to remove any aspects of pressure. If you're working at a job and your boss is putting pressure over you, right? This can lead to stress, right? This can lead to, you know, remember hydration, right? You want to properly hydrate yourself. So if you're stressing out, becoming dehydrated, what's that going to lead to? Disease, frustration, disappointment, all that type of stuff. And so when you find yourself being pressured, it just means that you're in an environment that you don't need to be in, okay? And so you can act accordingly. And so one thing about human design is like once you begin to step into these things and you understand what all these defined points are, undefined points are, how they can affect you, and you're able to pinpoint when you're acting in an undefined spleen or you're not self-themed with your spleen, or when you're picking up on somebody's emotions or you're picking up on people's thoughts and stuff like that. This is when you can begin to catch yourself and check in with yourself and be like, okay, you know, this is not who I am and let me move accordingly. And this is how you can use your mechanic to quantum leap and change your reality. And so these have been the 9 center points in human design. And yeah, just please go ahead, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I would love to hear your feedback. You know, go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon. Again, lots of courses coming very soon. If you want to get a better understanding of your human design, your human mechanics, feel free to book a session with me on my Calendly one-on-one. I'm very likely going to go through it with you, you know, provide you with some assignments, things that can help you out, and we can go from there. And once again, this is Digital Drip here, sending infinite vibes your way. These have been the 9 defined points and undefined points of your human design, and I look forward to communicating with you and hearing from you soon. Peace out. Infinite Vibes.